Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamsin Entertainment. And welcome to the conversation. Just before we get started, there are many ways you can help. You can like and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. But most importantly, please share this content. Get the word out there. There's a community where we can talk about all the things that we love. Today, I'm joined by my friend Darryl, and we're going to be talking about the latest Mortal Kombat movie. How's it going, Darryl?
Going pretty good, man.
What are your thoughts on the new Mortal Kombat movie?
Well, in order to get ready for this podcast, I watched this one and I watched the original. And I have to say that this one has better action, but overall, I'm not a big fan of it. The newer one, yeah.
Yeah? Why?
I'd say, well, I guess I'd say it's because the movie kind of didn't set me up to root for the good guys, I don't think, properly.
The good guys or the new guy?
The new guy was horrible too. It's just, oh man, it's just so funny to me because he's just a punk. I don't know, man. He gets his ass beat a lot.
So I didn't remember when I was reviewing it. Now I know his name. His name is Cole Young.
Cole, yeah.
And I think this is my only theory that the only reason why he's in here is that he's the audience.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
He's there to introduce the people to Mortal Kombat, but really, when you're making a Mortal Kombat movie, are you really going to make it for the general audience, especially if it's going to go to streaming nowadays?
Yeah.
I mean,
you could pretty much. It's kind of like if you tell a new Spider-Man story, you got to say the origin. No, you don't. If you tell a new Batman story,
no, you don't. Stop this new Batman movie. I dare not see
the pearl necklace getting ripped.
Yeah. God damn it. Hopefully this one breaks the mold.
Yeah.
But okay.
But yeah.
This, as I talked to you briefly about this outside and on my review, I did not like how they handled Scorpion. The only way that Cole could have worked better in this movie and utilized Scorpion better, throughout most of the movie, they're hinting that he's a descendant of Scorpion. Yeah. But you see these flashes of like the Scorpion knife, and you see Scorpion in hell. Yep. And he even says, "Release me." And I was thinking, okay, cool. This is going to be awesome. He's going to possess Cole. It's going to be awesome. That doesn't happen.
No, it does not.
Oh, my God. He just comes out of hell and starts fighting Scorpion one-on-one. Yeah. So they just put all these seeds in there. Like, he gets this cool armor that looks like armor that you would wear in MMA, because I started calling him an MMA guy, because his hands are wrapped with the armor and stuff.
Hands are wrapped with the armor, yeah.
And he gets two weapons.
Yeah, there's two arm blades or whatever they are.
If he ever was in a Mortal Kombat game, he would be the character that no one played unless they were forced to play him in like the story mode.
The funny thing I believe about Cole is that, I don't know, even the way people develop their powers, right? So you look at Kano, right? Right. He gets attacked by a reptile-like creature, scratch his eye, it's irritate him, it burns. He gets laser vision out of that eye.
That's the best part of that movie. So
Cole gets his ass beat. Gets his ass beat so often that his power is to get a suit of armor that can take an ass beating, right, and then come back out with. I think he kind of releases power. I don't know, I don't know.
We both thought that. Okay, you're seeing this red appear on this gold armor. They're gonna go Black Panther there with it. He can absorb the energy and then release it. No, he gets two weapons. He gets a baton and he gets a blade that's basically the baton again. Yeah. So it's.
I don't know. But what I was saying, like with the good guys, like, all right. So when I watched the original one, right, or the one in the '90s, right, the action in this one's way better in the newer one. But in the '90s, they set it up so that you could believe that your main characters are going to be able to fight. Excuse me. These like Sub-Zero and Scorpion in that version. By what they did was they had that whole instance where Sub-Zero kills one of the henchmen with a freezing ray. I don't remember if you've seen that one.
Yeah.
The guy does all these moves. He jumps, kicks. Sub-Zero shoots him with a freezing ray, and he crashes into there, and his skull lands at Shang Tsung's foot.
Right.
So then they show it where I think it was Johnny Cage. They have the whole crew kind of whooping ass on those same guys. So it's kind of like, oh, Sub-Zero can whoop them. Those guys can whoop them. Maybe they have a chance at fighting each other. Whereas with this newer movie, it's kind of like Sub-Zero's kicking everybody's ass. Whoever he meets, Jax, he rips his arms off. Reptile pretty much kicks everybody's ass until they team up.
Oh, there was another missed opportunity. I mean, Reptile, the fight should have been over in 2 seconds. Throughout the entire scene with Reptile, they're demonstrating he has venom that is acidic as hell.
Yeah.
He never used it.
No. He just happened to drool.
Dead.
And the drool happened to drip, and Kano was like, oh yeah, shit, that helps me out.
Kano did, I mean, the funniest part of the movie being Kano, and then he rips his heart, Kano wins!
Well, yeah,
I loved all that little, like, Easter egg, nostalgia stuff in there. That part was, like, it was enjoyable for that.
Yeah, and I think that's, I don't know. I guess what I was looking for was a little more campiness to it, in the sense that Mortal Kombat is a campy game. Like when you're playing, someone pops out and says toasty.
I think they put that all into Kano and maybe gave it a little bit to the other character. But Kano was like, here's your camp.
yeah. But also, I think that, like, I wish they actually had a tournament. Right?
Yeah.
I think that it was building up to this fight that they were practicing for. And then also, like, Cole, like, he couldn't get his powers, I forget what they call it. He couldn't develop his powers, so he kind of gave up. And he's the audience standing, so it's kind of like you're not rooting for him. What character just gives up and goes home?
Right.
And the other problem I have with both movies is this idea that the fate of the Earth is at stake here with these tournaments. This is the last one. Raiden was aware of everybody who had the symbol, but didn't go out to get them, try to help train them. It's kind of like, oh, you're on your own. You know what I mean?
In both movies, they stress the gods can't interfere, and yet Raiden is constantly counseling them in the first movie, and he puts up a huge electrical shield between the bad guys and these guys.
And they have a I don't know, that part I thought was kind of stupid. But also, right, when Sonya, Kano, and Cole first meet Liu Kang, he's like, oh yeah, you guys finally made it. And they had Jax already there. So that means that the temple, at least, was aware of everybody who had the symbol.
I never thought of that.
Could have went out and just said, hey, look, this was...
Right.
And the other part of it is, I don't know, it seems to be a common trope or whatever in movies to be like, this is stuff is going on and nobody knows about it. Like, the whole fate of the Earth is at stake.
Yeah. Well, it just makes it a little easier. I mean, you had movies that kind of broke that, like Blade.
Yeah.
Blade kind of did that. They had the Vampire Council where they are in charge of everything, but the rest of the world, for some reason, doesn't seem to notice.
Yeah.
Another movie it's another vampire movie that does that huge is Underworld.
Yep.
All of this is happening and humans don't
know about it, and they got to keep it secret.
That's some really good propaganda that they're pushing. But
it makes no sense. It just, and then like the whole idea that you get this symbol, and like if you happen to kill the person who has it, then you get the symbol. So now me and my fat ass accidentally hit somebody in the car, and now I got the symbol. I got to defend the whole Earth, and I don't have no type of, you know what I mean? Like
I can kind of see it, but I was gonna defend the movie until you.
But that's what
I was gonna say. It's like, okay, so the person that first gets chosen is pretty good at what they do.
Yeah,
like
supposed to be
at fighting wise, anyway. The person who, if they get killed by someone else.
It transfers to the person.
I guess it's supposed to mean that they were better than that person, so they're more worthy to fight into Mortal Kombat.
So
but with your example,
so like I'm upset.
Well, it's the powers are called Arcana.
Yeah.
Maybe if you were to reach your Arcana, no one knows what you. I mean, what kind of power would you want to get?
Let me think. I don't know, man.
We're gonna go down this path. No. What's your power?
I would want the power. Let me think. I think I would want the power of mayonnaise.
What the hell?
Nah, just, you never know when you need a sandwich. And so you just, bow. You can just slather it right on there.
Hey, maybe that will stop the fight.
Yeah.
Well, it's poison mayonnaise.
It could be,
so
yeah.
you give it to the opponent.
I just leave it out.
They
I
just
make
die.
some, leave it out, but yeah.
Actually, no, I can't remember why. I don't remember where I saw this one video, but it was like how to stop car thieves, and there's this. You make this sandwich, and you leave it on the dashboard of your car. It gets cooked and baked, and it gets and the thief was supposed to eat it, and they get food poisoning.
Oh, I thought it was just going to be the smell itself. It was like, get it. Oh, never mind. I smell it. Get out.
No, I can't remember where I seen that, but the idea was you put this sandwich that's nice and juicy to start out with, but by the time the sun's gotten to it and has been baking in the car for hours, a thief comes up to it, eats it, and then they have food poisoning.
Yeah, I think it's a little elaborate, but yeah, but to be honest, I don't know what do you think your Arcana would be?
I don't know what it would be. I just hope it would be telekinesis.
It seems to be based on what's going on. Like I said, Cole was getting his ass beat, so he gets this armor skin.
Well, you can't even base it off that because
Sonya
very quickly...
She had the shackles of oppression on her. So they came up with these... And bow, she shot off them shackles. She broke the shackles of oppression. It was like a...
What oppression?
Feminine oppression. The patriarchy. Yeah, there you go, see?
Sure. If you want to force it, sure.
It was very clear to me.
Yeah, this woman who has her own place, well stocked,
and
it doesn't take crap for it. Yeah, it doesn't take crap.
For some reason, she wasn't naturally chosen. She had to take it from a man. Okay, this man came in with all of his. I don't know, but she had took it from him.
Of course, Kano wasn't worthy to begin with either. He had killed someone else before.
Yeah, he killed somebody who was apparently worthy. I don't know. That's what I mean is that. I don't know. It's just like.
But this brings up another plot hole, though.
Okay.
So Kano tells him, "I know where it is."
Yep.
But you got to pay me to get there, and he at first gives him the impression that he has no interest in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Of course, why would he?
Yeah, $2 million just to lead him there.
No, I mean, why would he have interest in the tournament? Period.
Yeah.
He has no motivation for that.
Just money.
But before they leave Sonya's house, he says, "I had plans of going there anywhere." It was like. Why?
That's supposed to be a part of his.
Motivation is a big thing that's lacking in this movie. In the original one, you saw everyone had a motivate. Okay, Johnny Cage was tricked into it.
It was more. I think they kind of based that off of was Enter the Dragon, the one where it was a big tournament with Bruce Lee. I think that's what they based it on. There was this tournament going on. Johnny Cage, you're a badass. Just prove that you still got your skills. Everybody knew you used to be a badass martial artist. Prove that you still got your skills. He was tricked by Shang Tsung, but okay, yeah.
Right.
I'm a movie star. I can still kick ass.
Sonya's there because
chasing Kano, and she just ran on their gun.
Kano killed her partner.
Yeah.
And Jax is in that movie.
And that's
Jax
the thing.
is in that movie, and he's not even.
That's the whole thing. That's the thing about being like a black nerd is what you had to go through earlier on, because you had token black guys. Like nowadays, we were spoiled. We had. With Black Panther, we had, and I mean, like, it was done right, you know what I mean? And you have Falcon and Winter Soldier that just happened. So you have what you need. You had guys like Donald Glover that kind of, focus on that kind of nerdy thing. So you have this representation out there. We don't feel starved. But back then you felt starved. So you're like, okay, Jax, he's going to kick ass. He's going to come in. No, don't go on the boat. And that's it. That's all you got. Then you had the other black guy that was on there, and it was just like he's getting whooped by Goro, and it's supposed to be, oh my God, stop! And how does everybody have hard feelings for this guy when you see him twice? Like, come on, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, there's just those type of things. But she chased Kano on there because he killed her partner, and what was it? I mean, you had motivation. Yeah. Also, Liu Kang,
because his brother was killed by Shang Tsung.
Yeah, but I don't know. Liu Kang in this one seems like a punk. Kung Lao was like a badass.
Liu Kang, yeah. So both Kung Lao and Liu Kang are just in there for the fans. Like, hey, we got these characters in here. It's like, oh, yay, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, but it's just like...
Liu Kang in the original one actually had motivation.
Yeah.
You could argue that Johnny Cage also went through an arc, but Liu Kang went through a complete arc in the original. He left the Shaolin Temple because he didn't believe in the Mortal Kombat in the tournament and being the chosen one.
Yeah.
His brother dies because he took up Liu Kang's mantle.
Yeah.
And Liu Kang's on a revenge quest.
Yeah, so...
But among that quest, he changes and is like, yeah, I'm actually going to fight not just for revenge, but for the sake of humanity.
Yeah. But
arc complete.
Yeah.
and he gets revenge.
Yeah, and he gets the girl. Well, kind of. I mean,
kind of.
Yeah.
That's...
But I don't know.
This one, Liu Kang and Kung Lao are just there.
And it's funny to me because it's kind of like, okay, so all the heroes are getting their ass beat, and Raiden's like, look, enough of this, y'all cheating, let's get out of here, let's everybody out. Except for Kung Lao, which it takes a moment, and they kick him out of it, and then they kill him.
They do that, and they do that with Cole.
Cole, I thought they
said stop him, and Sub-Zero throws a ice ball at him.
Okay, yeah. Okay, all right, I missed that one, but yeah.
Kung Lao has the coolest death out of... Well, okay. Pulling heart out of reptile or sawing a woman in half.
Yeah. The sawing a woman in half is better.
I can't decide which is cooler.
The sawing in half is cooler to me. Because he set it up. He threw it over there.
Yeah.
He forgot about that.
Flawless victory.
He says that himself, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But Kung Lao was my favorite in the movie as far as a fighter. Just because he had the confidence already. He talked all that shit to Kane. I don't know. He just he was my favorite character in there. Second would have been Kano.
So that kind of brings me to the actual acting.
Okay.
I've seen it twice. The acting is not that good in this movie.
No, it's not.
Now, grant you, it's Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Shouldn't expect like Shakespearean or Oscar-worthy acting, but the guy who played Kung Lao, I don't know if it was him or the director or a mixture of the two. He just... Maybe it was this movie. It felt like this movie was... It felt like a 90s movie. And maybe that's what the acting was.
I think
maybe that's what the acting was. Because it's just... Kung Lao just... He always had that arrogant, like, I'm better than you tone to him.
Okay, so that contributes to what I was talking about in the sense that you have Kung Lao and you have Liu Kang. They've been at this camp training. Whereas it seems like Cole used to be a good fighter. Now he's washed. He's a washed fighter. Like, I don't get it. And then you have Jax gets his ass beat, loses his arms, and he has these rinky-dink arms when they bring him back. And Sonya, I don't know. She's just not chosen for whatever reason. And then there's the other thing that, I guess I'm kind of jumping around, but they just didn't, I don't believe, set up enough to put me on their side.
I think Cole would have been more interesting if he told us why he was no longer a champ.
I
mean, he's still young. He looks like he's maybe late 30s, early 40s. There are not many, but there are fighters that old.
Yeah,
and they're still really damn good.
At least in his 30s, his mid 30s or something, or early 30s.
They don't show with like any kind of injury that he like might have had or have. Or he doesn't have a limp or anything. There's no real reason for him not to be the best anymore.
It would make sense if maybe either he had too much of a bloodlust and he beat somebody's ass and they were like incapacitated. He felt guilty.
That would have worked for being chosen. Well, his is from birth, but that would have worked because then he could have had like a berserk mode.
Yeah,
that would have been really cool.
Or something. But and then I don't know, man. The idea that you're chosen from birth, and then he was an orphan. Like, the other thing too, like Sub-Zero looks like a regular guy. It's not like he has to have the suit on.
Right.
So, to be honest, he could have played like, oh yeah, I'm your birth father. Ha ha, psych, you're dead. When he was like 10.
Right.
He was chosen. He had to mark his whole life.
Right.
They could have been. I don't know. It's just certain things they said. I think just set him up for failure. And then what was up with Cabal? Like Cabal's like, I got a bone to pick with Kano. He set me up.
He just comes out of nowhere. You never see him with Kano. If they did a flashback with Kano, where Sonya and Jax were going after the one dude, and Kano killed the dude for whatever reason, and Cabal was there, and Cabal got
screwed over. Yeah. But the other thing was like, he says, "I'm gonna don't leave Kano to me." He double crossed me. He doesn't do anything. I thought he was gonna cut Kano's
all he
throat
does
or
is bring
something.
him over to Shang Tsung's side.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, whatever you're getting paid, triple it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, where is the whole, like, getting your payback?
Yeah.
They do cross you over, and it didn't, like, all right, if you look at the 90s movie, right, you get an idea that Shang Tsung is running things. He has a squad. He has all those foot soldiers or whatever. And this one is like, is him and his ragtag group of guys wanting to get back. I don't know. It just, he doesn't see, I guess it's budgetary reasons. They didn't really seem to have a squad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So talking more and more about this, I mentioned to you, these two movies are the same, or two different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really are. It is, I mean, and just talking about the new movie more and more, it's a 90s movie.
Yeah.
It's got the old trope is like, we want to take over the world.
Yep.
What are you going to do after that?
I don't know.
But both of them have the same plots. Outworlders won 9 tournaments.
Yep.
The 10th one's going to decide. Both of them had the exact same plot. Reptile in both times, even though it's shitty CGI in the original, both times it's an actual reptile.
Yeah.
Now, what's cool about the original one is that he goes into like a statue and becomes like the one that you normally see.
Know that you fight.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know. I like both of them.
But
for
also you see
reasons.
how in that one, Liu Kang confronts the whatever reptile. He's thrown off guard, kills that one. Then he finds the other one, and he threw it into the statue, and he still beats that thing's ass.
Yeah.
It builds your confidence in the idea of what Liu Kang can do. It seemed like with this one, everybody kept getting their ass beat first, and then we're going to surprise attack them, and then they started beating ass. I don't know.
Yeah, it's... I think what makes this one enjoyable is Kano, the new one, and the blood and gore.
Yeah,
we finally got a rated R Mortal Kombat.
I watched the 90s one recently, and Sonya Blade's character, you could tell like they used stunt doubles to do the kicks. She was doing some warm-up punches. Like I don't even know if she really knows how. I think they just chose her for the looks. That's not research. It's just me looking at it, thinking that. It's like, oh, okay. And I'm not even sure if the guy who played Johnny Cage was... I don't know. I maybe I should have looked it up before doing this, but it didn't seem as if it was like real martial arts. Like people who looked the part and played the part, and then maybe we'll use a stunt double to kind of cover certain things. But the action wasn't as I don't know. It didn't seem like it was the same person.
You could tell. And me having a martial arts background, for both movies, I can tell like when they're pulling. Yeah. And when so the first person that Liu Kang fights in the original one, they're using staves.
Yep. And
there's this one part where Liu Kang moves his staff over, and the other guy, you can clearly see, you're like, oh, I was supposed to meet him. You can just see the hesitation, like, oh, I was like...
I mean, that's getting real, like technical, like looking close. But I'm just saying, like, if you watch the part where in the 90s movie where Sonya's getting ready to fight Kano, and she's like warming up, throwing her punches. It's just like I don't like. It's kind of like what are you doing? That punch doesn't even look real. I don't know. Yeah. It just does. It makes me lose faith in her character being able to get the upper hand on Kano. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's the movie, and I still enjoyed it for what it was. But yeah, just the martial arts in it wasn't great in the first one. Better in the second one, or in the most recent one.
They definitely use more accurate martial arts instead of like movie martial arts in the newer one, so that was nice to see. But I mean, there were still a lot of times where you could tell it was severely choreographed.
Yeah. One of the things I was thinking about this was that if I start to question the movie's reality, then it's not supplying enough of something, right? So this is supposed to be an action movie. If you take, and I'm not saying that this has to be just like, but if you take either, like you look at John Wick, it's a ridiculous movie. Like stuff that happens, especially in the third one, is ridiculous. The stuff doesn't make sense, but I laughed, I enjoyed it. I'm waiting for something else to happen, right? When I watched this one, in between stuff happened, I'm like, I don't know. I just kept questioning what's going on. I just felt like maybe it wasn't supplying enough in the action way. It wasn't supplying enough in entertainment-wise to keep me, locked in on it.
Mm. And I think the worst part about the new one is that it has such a strong start.
Okay, yeah.
Sub-Zero taking out Scorpion's family.
So I watched a little bit. I watched it like last night. I was watching it and I ended up falling asleep watching. But that kind of goes to my point when Sub-Zero is going up against Scorpion in the beginning. It's an assassin coming after. I don't know. It seems like he's someone who's established, whether he's royalty or just has money or whatever. But he has. It seems like what's his name? Hitori, I guess his name
Hanzo Hasashi, I think.
Okay, but he seems to be established. He has this estate, or he has this land. He has people that's working there for him. He has his wife, and Sub-Zero is called Bihan. And he's coming up, and he's just dressed in regular clothes. It just happened to be a blue shade. It's faded. It looks more realistic. It's not like he has this bright blue, face is covered. It's just him coming up there as an assassin going after him, and it's this nice story. And then when you go to modern day, and Shang Tsung says, Bihan, he's like, I'm Sub-Zero now, and they're speaking English. It just seems so off-putting. It seems kind of corny then. It's kind of like, even though I said I was asking for kind of a cheesiness, it just seems like he could have been still, I don't know. I'm making a new movie at that point.
I get what you're talking about, especially the fact where Scorpion or Hanzo only speaks Japanese.
Yes.
Except for towards the except for the last 10 minutes of the film where it has some English.
Yeah.
And it's not like broken English, it's like it's like mother tongue English.
Yeah.
But it's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
I think we both may be overanalyzing things because at the end of the day, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think what happens is with any movie, I guess I watch it when I'm looking forward to it. I was excited to watch it before, and everything like that. You kind of make up where it's going to go. It's kind of, oh man, this, especially like the opening sequence. Oh, this is going to be a more serious, or maybe it's going to follow this whole idea of an assassin coming out. I don't know. It's just these things come in, and then when it doesn't meet any of those expectations, which maybe you should dull down your expectations. Just kind of like, I don't know. That's
one thing where, so Scorpion is back from hell helping Cole fight Sub-Zero, and when he's talking to Cole, he's speaking Japanese.
Yeah, Cole understands him.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, does Cole understand and speak Japanese? Or does he just get the general gist of it? Like he's like, yeah, I get it. Like we need to go after this guy.
Yeah, that's a failure on the movie's part. Because
I think if they went with my idea, where Scorpion possesses Cole, that would have been really cool. Or if we somehow do get a second Mortal Kombat movie, I still like the possession idea. They can still do that. But the reason. You could say that he speaks English, I think only twice, Scorpion, in the entire movie. That the reason why he's doing that is because it's Cole. But I think it would have been cooler if he said, get over here in Japanese.
That would have made more sense. But again, they're trying to quote things from
they're playing on nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like, get over here! Like, people want to hear that instead of how it's said in Japanese.
If you had just tried to make up, that was funny. But
I wouldn't make things up. I did. Brief aside, I did teach myself Japanese for a brief moment, but I never learned "get over here."
Okay, that wasn't.
If I did, I would have done it.
Okay, all right.
Would have surprised the hell out of you.
Yes, it would have. I mean, you could have said anything. I would have believed you, but yeah. But I thought that maybe Cole's character was going to take over Scorpion's powers. Like, he was going to grab the thing and all of a sudden...
Yeah, that would have been so much cooler. He would have had a purpose.
I could just,
Yeah.
And then it kind of would have made sense, and maybe he would have been inspired or by touching it.
Yeah, and then he could have said in anger because his family has been frozen.
Yeah.
Like, get over here.
Yeah, or he was about to freeze his family and boom, catch him. Like, yeah. But I don't know. I just felt like Cole was a punk. He gave up on training when the fate of the why are you gonna go back home to your family when you're supposed to be fighting to defend your family?
Well, that was more Raiden's. Like, go be with your family. You're not supposed to be here. And then it was a trick the entire time. It's like, we know Shang Tsung is going to send his, someone after him. It turned out to be Goro.
Yeah.
Goro turned out Goro turned out to be a punk. Of course, he turned out to be a punk in the original one.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He did, because, okay, so the way Goro in the original one was animatronic, a guy in a suit. It was really, really cool. It didn't look too bad. It still holds up. But the way they introduce him and showing his fighting prowess is you see these guys being tossed and hitting the ground all over the place. You don't see Goro do anything until he fights the one...
Johnny Cage?
No, before that.
The black guy.
Yeah. The one he pounds to death instead of ripping him in half because of PG-13.
Yep. And everybody was heartfelt over this stranger.
And then he goes out like a punk because... Well, no. First, Johnny Cage punches him in the balls, which is legit Johnny Cage move.
It is, yes.
And then Johnny Cage just simply outsmarts him. Like, he's going to go run up and hide and then push him off the edge. I was like, why is Goro punk?
I don't know.
He almost tore Cole in half. That would have been cool. Imagine if they did that. They tore him in half.
That would have...
They tore him in half and then he came back as Scorpion?
Yeah.
God damn it, Mortal Kombat!
That would have been...
That would have been... Warner Brothers, if you happen to see this fucking podcast, take my advice. Kill off Cole and have Scorpion come back.
Yeah,
because
makes sense.
I wish I knew the actor's name, but the actor's way better anyway.
Yeah. But it was,
That would have been so epic.
That would have been unexpected.
Ripped in half.
And
then you see him later just coming together, but he comes back as Scorpion. Oh, man! That we would have gotten two awesome things. Goro actually pulling off one of his fatalities.
Yeah.
And a really good Scorpion. Oh, man. But Goro, I guess he didn't go out completely like a punk because he was beating up Cole, so that's not saying much. But Cole gets his armor, and he's absorbed. So the armor, what it does, it absorbs and displaces the damage more.
Yeah.
It doesn't collect it. It just displaces it more, so he doesn't take as much.
Yeah.
And he can summon his weapons at will,
allowing him to get his ass beat even more. But I don't know, man. It was an okay movie. I enjoyed the action that was in it. I just, like I said, it was hard for me to stay on the side of the people you're supposed to root for. Like, I'm supposed to root for.
No, I definitely get you, because they were, I mean, even when they were training, you just keep on seeing all of them getting their asses beat.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
I mean, like, could you imagine if you watch Rocky and they do the whole montage of him getting stronger, and by the end of it, he still can't do it? Or any movie.
That makes me dwell on when Liu Kang was going up against Kano to get his arc. That was so dumb. He sweep kicks him. So I bet you can't do it again. He does it like four more times.
Is that all you want to do?
That's so...
It was supposed to...
But I did enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the movie? Did you enjoy it?
I liked it more than I didn't.
As much as we're bashing on this movie, we did enjoy it. I mean, I laughed.
Yeah.
The gore part was awesome.
I laughed, I cried.
But, I don't know. I guess I always had the mentality, it's a Mortal Kombat movie. I didn't have a high expectations for this.
I would say Marvel ruined it for me. I had a skepticism about anything related to video games and anything related to superheroes.
Well, most people do, because historically speaking, video game movies fail every single time. Sonic was like the most recent one that I kind of liked. It doesn't stay true to Sonic.
One,
I think you'd like it. I mean, it's like a kid's kind of a movie, but it's still enjoyable.
All right.
But yeah, historically speaking, video game movies fail. So that's another reason why it had such a low bar for this one.
Okay. But I'd say Marvel had set up because I had no expectations for anything that was dealing with video games or heroes or comic books or anything like that. Everything was going to suck. And then Marvel said, hey, why don't we just tell a good story and throw in the hero stuff, or at least in my opinion, a good story. And then even some of the DC stuff, it still is good, especially the animated stuff is awesome. So I come in and I say, this has a chance to be good, at least that much. So when it fails those expectations, then it's just like, what are you doing here, man? why waste my time, man?
I can see how you can be spoiled by it, but I mean, I don't know. Again, I just didn't go in with high expectations.
And the other thing, look, the whole concept of that somebody's won 9 tournaments out of 10, and you still go to the 10th one. No, like, could you imagine rock, paper, scissors? Like, come on, one more. No, you didn't beat me 10 times in a row. Like, I just did it 9 times in a row. Let's stop, So I don't know. It's just, but that was coming from the '90s story of the game and everything like that. So that's fine. But I was just like, there's no other way you're gonna play 9 times in a row, and if I lose once, then it's all over. Like, no, and I don't know. I'm gonna keep going into it, and I'm gonna get frustrated. But yeah, it was okay, man.
What's your history with Mortal Kombat in general?
So as a kid, I liked the games. It was about the whole aspect of violence, the gore, and then the humor, the ridiculousness of it. I used to play I used to go to arcades. There was a laundromat when I was little. We used to save up quarters or go help people with their groceries at the little local Giant, and just take the quarters that people would tip us. Go either to get Chinese food or we go to the laundromat that had an arcade and just play the game. And then did over time, I kind of put it down after, I never really get into fighting games personally, but, it's always been back there, something nostalgic you look back on. It was fun. I did buy Mortal Kombat 11, but, I mean, it's kind of like the gory version of Smash Brothers now, because they got, like, you can play as Yoda, you could play as Darth Vader, you could play as the Terminator.
I think with the Star Wars characters, you were thinking of Soul Calibur.
No, I think they did have. I thought they did have. If you had it on, I think if you had it on Xbox, you could get either Yoda and Darth Vader was on PlayStation or one or the other way, I believe.
The only Mortal Kombat crossover I'm aware of is DC.
That was so like at the current ones now, it's just characters. Like it's not even. It's not anything to do with the story. It's just like there's this character. And like I could pay money and I can get Terminator, and you could pay money to get whoever.
Oh.
And they just add like Jason or whoever.
That's interesting.
So it's yeah.
I do remember the Jason one and the Freddy one. They had a Mortal Kombat with them with those two in it.
So it's more of a character you can download and you can play as. So that's what I mean by like it's like the Smash Brothers but more violent, because with Smash there's always like a new character and things like that that's coming. That hold on, somebody's calling my phone, so I'm just gonna drop that. Okay, yeah. So, but yeah, so it's always like some new character you can either add, like now Cloud's in the game, now Mega Man, now Pac-Man or whatever. So they're doing the same thing, but it's going to be violence.
I'm surprised they haven't really gone that route with games in general. Especially, I mean, now that they have download content, it's like direct.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Of course, I know the reason why. Money.
Yeah.
It's money.
Yeah.
But they could easily just like. Here's game one. Doesn't matter what it is. Here's game one. It's got certain graphics, certain capabilities, certain story, and features and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, game 2, download, big ass download, but it's a download that goes over top of the old game, or uses the structure of the old game and gives new features and all that kind of stuff, and just continue like that.
I don't know.
I think that would work. I just think it's not nearly as profitable.
It happens. I think with because like you had games like. What was I just recently? Oh, so you have Grand Theft Auto, right? If you play that, the online version, they've had that game for I think like 10 years now, and they just expand what you can do on the online aspect. So the main story is already done. I don't think they've done anything where there's new missions with those guys, but the online aspect they kind of expand what you can do, and there's new types of heists and things like that. And they haven't made a new game; they just keep expanding on what's there, and they even have it to the latest version, like the PS5 and things like that.
I see the problem with that, with an open world games, that there's only so much you can do with it.
Yeah, and it's going to stay in that same. But
with fighter games like Super Smash or any fighter game, why not just or sports games? sports games are ridiculous. Every single year they're going to come out with
Well,
those games could greatly benefit from just like, okay, here's a graphics update, here's a roster change, and same with the any fighter game. Here's graphic updates, here's some new moves, maybe a new character or two. I mean, nowadays it's so easy to just,
I guess
here's an update.
It would make more sense in the PC sense and a less sense in console, in that they tend to try, and certain games will try to go to what, like I think with PS4 it was 720 was the max definition, and you had the
720.
Yeah, it was 720. You didn't go to 1080 in the PS4, and then when you got the Pro, you get 4K, I think, but it wasn't true 4K or something like that. And it was because at the time when the PS4 came out, high definition, I guess was 7. I guess they could. I don't know, man. I don't know the exact term.
No, I was gonna say I have a PS4 and I have a 4K TV, and I've gotten to look like.
It looks nice. No, I have a 4K
awesome.
television. Yeah, I've gotten games like that, but I think the maximum output at the original PS4 was 720.
Yeah.
And Xbox always was bragging about how they had higher definition, but with these latest ones, then you got 4K. But I think when you can upgrade your computer faster than, because the way they do it's not like you can upgrade the graphics card on your PS5. You know what I mean? You can upgrade usually the memory on it, but not the graphics. And usually on your computer, you can update your graphics card as often as you like.
Right.
So usually when they make games, they kind of, graphics-wise, they tend to make it to the specs of what they have, and I think they can only really expand on the story. Graphics, they can do better when technology, and if you want to, you can update your graphics.
Well, okay, maybe not necessarily for consoles always have a graphics update, but have like new features, new weapons, new characters. It doesn't work for every game. Like open world, not so much. Ones that are definitive story and might be partially open world, like the Batman and Arkham games. Not so much.
Especially what we see now with, like say, for example, if you play Call of Duty, right? What's the point in buying a whole new Call of Duty? You know what I mean? Why don't they just release it as a pack, like a download? Well, they do, but it's a whole new game. Because you had Call of Duty Modern Warfare, then it was Call of Duty Cold War, and then
with that, they can split it. They can have their set storylines, which I've only played one Call of Duty. I think it was Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
And I dug my haunches in. Like, okay, I'm going to be here for a few days playing this. I beat it in a fucking night. Like, 10 hours later, I was like, where's the rest of it? I got spoiled on Final Fantasy and Elder Scrolls, where these stories are very long, and you can take your time with it and enjoy the game and the environment. But games like that, you can have, okay, so, here's a new game. This is just a story. But you can have, they also have, like, if you want to do just multiplayer, you can do the entire catalog of Call of Duty, like the very first one to the current one. But then but they can come out with games and make them. I probably wouldn't make them cheaper, but they can make cheaper games of just the story if that's all you want. But if you want to play just multiplayer,
I think I gotta look into it, but I think that there was a capability to, because that was one of the complaints people had specifically about Call of Duty, is how big and massive this game, the memory is taken up on whatever, like on your PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. And they said you could delete, like if you're not playing the story mode, you can delete the package, the parts of it that's just about the story mode, since you're not going to play it.
Right.
And then if you want to get back into it, you can just download that part of it. But yeah, I think, gaming is moving in a direction to where, like you said, it's kind of like if you had like Jack and Daxter or whatever, one of those types of story games, and you just want to add a new adventure on, or have kind of like this open-ended story. Or like they were doing with Hitman. I don't know.
I played, I think, the first 2 Hitmen, and that was about it.
It was
that was
basically
a long time ago.
Like they released so many jobs in a sense, and so then they could. I think they did something like that. I didn't play it, but I think they did something where you had so many jobs, and then like some more jobs are going to come out later on, and some more jobs. But the problem with that is especially the older person's mindset. Like me coming up with games, I'm used to buying a full story and not something incomplete.
Right.
So if you're going to charge
Well, I've recently gotten back into video games, and from my understanding, they stopped the countless download content. So whereas like, here's 75% of the game. Now you got to wait like a month or two after it's been released, even though it's already developed, to buy the other 25%. Yeah. And we're going to sell it to you maybe 10 or 5% increments. Yeah. Well, I think that, from my knowledge, they've basically stopped that. And they might have like new features and new weapons come out, but not necessarily new missions. Well, so at least the games that I've played,
I was gonna say, like,
they haven't done that.
What it seems to happen. So a game that I got into was Destiny, right? I got into it with a few people. You remember, Livingston and a few other people. But anyway, point is, when the first Destiny was released, it was kind of an incomplete game, and when I got into the first Destiny a year after it came out, and by that time they had released so many different things that by the time I got into it and I downloaded everything, I had a great time. And when the second one came out, looking forward to getting into it, I got into it. They changed stuff to a point where you couldn't grind the way you could before. Things just, like something that was supposed to be legendary and hard to get, you just happened to drop, killing a random enemy, and it wasn't as satisfying. And the game seemed to, just anything they do, like, what was it? What was the name of that game? Cyberpunk 2077, whatever.
I do like that game.
But it was kind of released with a whole bunch of glitches still.
Yes.
Like they have a habit now currently is releasing things where you'll have your bugs and they issue patches and then they fix it up and then, so the full...
I thought
you might not even have to,
was...
Oh yeah, if you look it up, you'll see.
I thought Cyberpunk was a rarity like that. It was like...
No, there's always going to be a patch or whatever they release. Same thing happened with Call of Duty where certain things were happening and they'll release a patch for it. But I think more often they're not doing, like, I think back when things were all on a disc or on a cassette, they had to have a full game then. So they had to have people come and test the game and they had these game testers. Now you hear about games having an open beta and you can get the code and get into it and you play the game early. So there's a lot of this hype built up to get into it early. And that's really where you're getting your test. And you can, like, okay, we're finding these bugs when people are playing or whatever, that they're monitoring that. And then they fix the game that way. So it's not as much in-house before they release. I think they have it more outside, and then everybody gets into it, and they find the bugs, and they patch those. But then the money's in, because you always have these passes. You have this, whatever pass you're going to pay for, a season pass. I don't know if you played or heard about, what was that one? Fortnite. Yeah, there's a season. You got to.
I never played Fortnite, but I know what it is.
Yeah, and you have to pay for seasons. It's the same thing. There's a season pass for Call of Duty, and that's where the money's coming in. So you pay that initial $60 for the game. If you got the extra limited edition, then that's the extra whatever money you get to get extra weapons. And then they have, instead of it being loot crates where it's a mystery what you get now, it's just this is what you're going to get, and you could pay. You could buy your basically it's kind of like. You give us $20 real, and we give you tokens of our money, whatever it is, and you can apply that money into that whatever our money is towards these packages.
Yeah, and games like that, I'll wait because I know like maybe a year and a half, 2 years at the most, they're gonna have like the Game of the Year edition or whatever it's called, where everything's in the same package.
But that's what happened with what I was talking about with me and Liv when we got into the first Destiny.
Yeah.
We got the one that gave you all the stuff. So now, instead of us having to buy everything like everybody else did when they first got the game, we started off kind of mostly on the same level as everyone who had the game. But I think the way games now is just that they're releasing everything in parts, and that's where they make their money back. Especially with everything being digital, you don't have to, like, what was hurting a lot of the game developing companies was GameStop's. Like, I never bought a new game, or I would get, like, certain new releases, but I always go and get a used game, trade it in, and then I would build up the trade-in, and then maybe at most I pay for a game that's $20 out of my pocket.
Nice.
And then I would get this game, and then when I beat it, if I beat it in 7 days, I can give all my money back. You know what I mean? So, so because those used games, none of that went to the developer companies, none of that went to EA or whoever. That all was just to GameStop. That was them reselling their stock, and they didn't have to buy it because you're just giving it back to them. They gave you they were giving you, if the game was supposed to be worth, they're sending it for $40, they're going to give you like $15.
Yeah, I hated that. I have no idea how they ever come up with the metrics for their trade-in values.
It's
like I just bought the stupid thing. If I bought a car, I'd get more trade-in like a week later than I would with this game.
Yeah, but the system was rigged, and their target audience was, their target demographic was people who didn't have their own, like kids. You know what I mean? If you're just getting allowance and your parents bought you this one game and you could work it so that you can get 2 more games because they got you the new, you're going to work it that way, and that's how you're... But anyway, point is, developers didn't get their money. Now, everybody's downloading the game, so the developers are getting their money because you're buying it brand new. You're buying it straight from them through the download.
Right.
And then all the other little things, whether it's whatever type of, new armor or whatever they're going to develop. And people have, because over time, like at first, it's crazy. What am I going to pay you money for something, a new costume? But now it's at the point like, all right, fine, I want this ninja outfit. Now I want this whatever on my character. And people are okay with paying that money now. It's enough time spent, so they're always going to develop something where, you want this, you want to play as Ryu? What about Ryu in a blue uniform? It's like, $20? Sure. No, maybe not $20, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I think we covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
How do you like coming on the podcast?
It's not bad, man. It's a nice atmosphere. It's a nice atmosphere in here.
I'd definitely like to have you come back on.
Sure, man.
All right. If you like what you saw, like it. If you think other people will like it, share it. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and listening, and live your imagination.